Hey gang, and welcome back. I've been reading your feedback, and this week the deck I picked is a lot more focused on the commander and playing it. So let's run down the roster. I'm playing Krenko Mob Boss, Kevin is playing Gonti Lord of Luxury, Matt is playing Nahiri the Lithomancer, and Marco is playing Riku of Two Reflections. My opener has Illusionist Bracers, 3 Mountains, Fissure, Reforge the Souls, and Baraken Aufhetze, which is Warn Instigator in German. Kevin's opener has 4 Swamps, Profane Command, Obnixilis Reignited, and Beseech the Queen. Marco keeps an opener with Scalding Tarn, Redirect, Phyrexian Metamorph, Reigns of Power, Torrential Gearhulk, Sakura Tribe Elder, and Mystical Tutor. Matt's opener had Scrying Sheets, Snow-Covered Plains, Flooded Strand, Sensei's Divining Top, Condemn, Sword of Vengeance, and Swords to Plowshares. Kevin won the die roll, so let's begin. Kevin plays a Swamp for his turn, I play a Mountain for mine, Marco top decks a Tropical Island and plays it, and Matt plays a Snow-Covered Plains and then casts Sensei's Divining Top. Kevin's second turn sees another Swamp and he passes to me. I play a Mountain and cast Warren Instigator before passing to Marco. Marco places Scalding Tarn, cracks it taking 1 to go find Volcanic Island and casts Sakura Tribe Elder before passing to Matt. Matt plays a Marsh Flats, cracks it to go find a Snow-Covered Plains, and then casts Luminarch Ascension, painting a giant target on his back. Kevin plays a Swamp and then casts Beseech the Queen, finding Toxic Deluge, and passes to me. For my turn, I play a Mountain, cast Ruby Medallion, and then go to combat, swinging Warren Instigator at Matt to stop Luminarch Ascension from getting too many counters. Unfortunately, I don't have any goblins in my hand, so Matt just takes 2. Marco doesn't find his 3rd land for his turn and has to make the decision of swinging with Sakura Tribe Elder to keep Matt off that counter rather than crack it and find a land, and as a result, Matt takes 1. Matt plays his 3rd Snow-Covered Plains and uses top to look at the top 3 cards and rearrange them in any order he wants. With nothing else, he passes to Kevin. Kevin plays Cabal Coffers for his land, taps it and the 3 Swamps to cast Gonti, targeting Marco. He keeps Marco's Omniscience, a card that's going to haunt me till I die, and passes turn. For my turn, I don't have a Mountain to play, so instead I cast Illusionist Bracers and move to combat, swinging Warden Instigator at Matt. Unfortunately, the little goblin that couldn't, and Matt uses Condemn to put him on the bottom of my library. In response, at some point Marco has sacrificed his Sakura Tribe Elder to go find a forest. With nothing else, I pass to Marco. Marco once again misses his land drop, and instead has to pay 2 life and 3 mana to cast Phyrexian Metamorph, copying Kevin's Gonti. Marco keeps Kevin's Soul Ring and passes to Matt. Matt plays Scrying Sheets for his land drop, and then casts Sword of Fire and Ice before passing to Kevin. Kevin's turn has him ramping pretty hard, and he plays a Swamp, taps Cabal Coffers to generate 4 mana, casts Burnished Heart, and then using the 1 remaining mana and his 2 open Swamps, sacrifices the Burnished Heart to find 2 more Swamps. Not wanting to leave himself defenseless, Kevin passes his combat step without attacking, and passes to me. For my turn, I play a Spine Rock Knoll and find a bunch of good cards, none of which I want to put underneath it. I then cast Mogcatcher and pass to Marco. Marco top decks a forest and plays it immediately. He then casts Kevin's Soul Ring and casts Oracle Modia, revealing an island off the top. He plays it as an extra land and reveals a 2nd island before moving to combat. During his combat step, he swings his copied Gonti at Matt, and Matt takes 2. With nothing else, Marco passes to Matt. Matt responds at the end of Marco's turn, using top to look at the top 3 cards of his library. On his upkeep, Matt activates Scrying Sheets, which allows him to reveal a top card, which, if it's a snow card, he gets to put in his hand, and reveals the Snow-Covered Plains. Leaving 2 mana open, Matt passes to Kevin. Kevin plays Nykthos for his land drop and activates Cabal Coffers, generating 6 mana, and taps 4 lands to cast Marco's Omniscience. Kevin goes on a small casting spree, dropping Viscera Seer and Obnixilis Reignited for free, and upticks Obnixilis, drawing a card and losing 1 life. He then plays Trading Post, a card I really love in EDH, and passes to me. I play a Mountain for my turn and then activate Mogcatchers, finding Goblin Recruiter. I find Goblin Chieftain, Goblin Ringleader, Goblin Warchief, and Skirk Prospector. I put them on top with Goblin Ringleader being my next draw. I then cast Shared Animosity, and Marco responds by casting Mystical Tutor to find Cyclonic Rift and put it on top of his library. Marco draws the Rift for his turn and reveals the next card, a Solemn Simulacrum, which he's had altered to look like Batman. Oh yes. His first play is a clever impersonator, copying Kevin's, or should I say his own, Omniscience. With nothing else, he passes to Matt, who activates his top at the end of Marco's turn. Matt, who's no longer the main threat because of Luminarch Ascension, has to somehow gain a foothold in this game, so he plays his own Nykthos and then casts Wrath of God to set the boards back to a neutral position. If only Wrath of God was able to hit enchantments. With nothing else, he passes to Kevin, who, at the end of Matt's turn, makes a goat. For his turn, Kevin plays a Swamp and upticks Obnixilis, drawing a card and losing 1 life. He then activates Cabal Coffers to generate a bunch of mana, and uses it to recast Gonti. He targets Marco again, but because of the wording, we don't get to see the 3 cards under Solemn Simulacrum. Kevin is, however, a gentleman, so he nicely shows the camera that he kept a Dax duplicate. He then uses the remaining mana from Cabal coffers and taps a land or two to cast the duplicate. Marco gives pause, wondering if he should counter it or not, but finally lets it resolve, and Kevin chooses Matt as his target. The legendary rule applies first though, and Kevin lets his original Gonti die. He keeps Matt's Sun Titan and then swings his cloned Gonti at me, dealing 3 damage because the clone gains a +1/+1 counter from Dethrone. He then passes to me. I draw a Goblin Ringleader, as we all know I'm going to, and cast him, revealing the top 4 cards. Unfortunately, the 4th card is Perforos, and he has to go to the bottom. Moving to combat, I swing the Ringleader at Marco for 2. With nothing else, I pass to Marco. Marco plays a Foil Breeding Pool untapped, taking 2 damage, and then casts an overloaded Cyclonic Rift. Matt decides to respond by using Sensei's Divining Top, and I respond by making all of my permanents into a nice little pile, which is easy to pick up. Marco then casts his returned copy of Omniscience with his cloned copy of Omniscience, and passes to Matt. During his first main phase, Matt uses Scrying Sheets to activate and look at the top card, revealing snow-covered plains. He then draws it and plays the card. He then rebuilds his board, casting Luminarch Ascension, Sensei's Divining Top, and passes to Kevin. Kevin misses his land drop and activates Cabal Coffers to recast Obnixilis Reignited, upticking him, drawing 1 card and losing 1 life, and then plays Expedition Map. He then cracks it to go find Urborg, plays it as his land, and recasts the Burnished Heart that he brought back in response to Marco's Cyclonic Rift by sacrificing his goat to Trading Post. Last but not least, he casts Spawning Pit and passes to me. I play a Mountain, cast Ruby Medallion, and cast Goblin Warchief, to which Marco responds by casting Torrential Gearhulk, flashing back Mystical Tutor. He finds Bribery and puts it on top. The War Chief resolves, and I follow that up by casting Krenko Mob Boss, who I immediately tap to make 2 1/1 Goblin tokens. As I'm still pretty far behind in a board state, I don't want to lose any of my Goblin tokens, and I pass to Marco without attacking. I have too many cards in my hand, and I dump Caged Sun into my graveyard. Marco doesn't play a land for his turn and moves to combat, swinging Torrential Gearhulk at Matt. In his second main phase, Marco then casts Bribery and then twin casts his own Bribery, with both targets focusing on me. Marco's intent is to find the Kiki Jiki Zealous Conscript combo, which thankfully I didn't have the foresight to include in this deck. Instead, Marco has to settle for Perforos and Siege Gang Commander, dealing 8 damage to all of us. Unfortunately, during the rendering of this game, I lost the last 2 minutes of the footage, so here's how it goes down. Marco then cast Riku of 2 Reflections. He then casts Dax Duplicate, which comes into the field as a hasty Krenko, and triggers Riku's ability. Responding to Riku's ability, Marco taps his hasty Krenko, and makes 5 more Goblin tokens, before paying for the Riku cost, and lets his clone die to make an extra copy of a cloned Krenko. This Krenko also has haste, and with enough goblins on the field to kill us all, he taps the Krenko, ending the game. Let's review the game, shall we? I think it was pretty cool to see 3 monocolored commanders going at it in a game. Matt's Nahiri deck was pretty sweet, but unfortunately he wasn't able to draw into any real ramp. He wasn't really able to have enough mana to play threats and keep enough up to be able to defend himself. I think Kevin's Gonti deck highlights why Gonti is quickly becoming my favorite mono-black commander in the format. You're able to build a really nice mono-black good stuff deck with all kinds of fun things like Cabal Coffers, etc., but still be able to steal cards from your opponents even if there are other colors. The fact that he was not only able to steal, but also cast Omniscience would be more than enough to get the gears going in my head if I was looking to build a Gonti deck. Marco's Riku deck is a lot of fun. He showed it to me after, and it's pretty much built around the concept of playing other people's cards. Yes, his deck probably cost more than ours put together, but it wasn't built with a competitive mindset, and as a result, even though we lost, I don't think anyone was upset. Frankly, I got a real kick out of the fact that Marco thought he could win with Kiki Jiki and Zealous Conscripts, and he couldn't find it in my deck. As a result, he had to figure out a different way to win the game. I had a lot of fun playing Krenko Mob Boss. People were right, I haven't played a lot of Commander games recently where I focus on the general. Yes, unfortunately, I was only able to cast him once this game, but I've been playing him all night, and he'd been putting up some pretty good results. I think my biggest issue for this game was the fact that I didn't draw any mana rocks, and I missed a few land drops. This put me back really far behind, especially for an aggro deck. This is not what I want to be doing. Well gang, I hope you enjoyed this installment of my EDH gameplay videos. Please be sure to check back every Monday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a new gameplay, primer, or top 10. As always, thank you for watching, and please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.